Lucky us, we've got Jen Beattie in studio ahead of Bay FC's big match this weekend against Gotham in the New York area. Got to pay a visit to the Morning Footy crew and CBS Sports Golasso. Jen, thanks so much for taking the time to join us. Welcome. How are you?
I'm great. Thank you so much for having me.
5 years at Arsenal now. You're playing in the NWSL. Was this a plan for you all along? Did you always kind of have your eye on this league and knowing that you wanted to come play stateside?
100%. I think for me, the NWSL was exactly what you said. It was always that one league that I always looked at it and thought it was amazing. An opportunity just never came up at the right time, but when Bay FC came in January, I jumped at it, and I'm so happy I did.
I was telling Jen back there, well, you ended up in a great spot because, look, if you're going to come play in the United States, being in California is a pretty good place to be, huh?
Yeah, no, exactly. I think, I grew up in Glasgow. I've moved abroad for football, but to be in California under the weather, every time I see a palm tree, it kind of just, I have to pinch myself every time. So it's an amazing place to be, and yeah, I'm loving it.
And now you can see a palm tree all the time because you love them so much. You got one tattooed on your arm, you were telling me?
Yeah, I shouldn't have really told you that.
I know, I told you to show it.
Yeah, I managed that. I love fine line tattoos, and yeah, got a little palm tree a couple of weeks ago.
She's not lying, it is like this big.
It's tiny.
So I
yeah.
will make you pull out your sleeve. Just imagine a palm tree like in 8.5.
As big as your thumb.
No, probably. Yeah.
Charlie, I have toe thumbs. Nobody wants to see those. No, they're gross.
So
I really do.
What have you been most surprised about within the NWSL and the talent that you're playing against, the talent that you're working with, as well as the ownership group that you have at Bay FC, the incredible ownership group that you have?
Yeah, unbelievable. I think the investment, like you said, first and foremost, has just been incredible to see across the whole league. For me, I think the biggest surprise was just how competitive it is. I think every team can beat each other, and that's what makes every weekend so exciting in that sense, and so hard, and making every training session really matter. So that for me has been so fun to play against, because back in Europe it's not really the same. You kind of have your front runners, and week to week's obviously competitive, but not as competitive as here. Everywhere press is high, and then really, really intense games.
Which environment have you liked the most outside of your own home stadium?
So far, I really love Portland. I thought the atmosphere at Portland was amazing. I think they're renowned in the league for, having big crowds and probably being the longest standing team in that sense, and the atmosphere there was amazing, and to beat them was also
yeah, that had to feel good too.
Jen, I want to focus about what's been happening on the field since the Olympics. Your team, you've really hit form, and looking at the playoffs, we were talking earlier about teams that finish strong tend to do better when they get in the playoffs. What's been the secret sauce behind the recent success for Bay FC?
Probably just consistency. I think we finally gelled. I think that was huge for me coming into an expansion team, right? That was a brand new process for me, and just having the patience along that it takes time. It takes time to get to know each other on and off the field. And for us, I think now it's finding the consistency. We know what we need to do to win. We know how to be patient in the moments where it is going against us a little bit. But we've picked up points where we've not necessarily performed the best, and before we were kind of shipping goals or shipping performances that we could have got more out of, and I think that for me has probably been the biggest difference.
Were they, the team, during that stretch where things maybe weren't going your way, some of the results not falling in your favor, with the experience that you have, were you one of those voices and people in the locker room that the team kind of leaned on? How did you kind of use your experience to help the team through that?
Yeah, I tried to be. I think, it's difficult when you're coming into, so many different characters and so many different blends of cultures from different leagues across the world coming in at the same time. But of course, I would always try and bring my experience at any different point and, talk at halftime, or if anything's not working, trying to give that little nugget of information that people might necessarily need, or going asking coaches different things. But yeah, of course, I enjoy that. I enjoy being, that little bit older and having the confidence to speak up in difficult times, and because it's a young team, a really young team, so I enjoy that responsibility.
I've worked with other Scottish players, by the way, who say that sometimes, and you're a lot easier to understand than the player I'm talking about, which is Johnny Russell, who came on our show. He said that sometimes players would have a hard time hearing what he had to say or deciphering the message. Have you ever had that issue? Or?
Yeah, sometimes I get some blank looks. Just if I stop talking,
intense, right?
If there's just silence, that's when I know, okay, I'm not being understood here. But yeah.
Can you do like an American accent at all?
Please don't make me try to do that.
We'll make you do that. Well, one thing that you've also done with Bay FC is you've gotten involved off the field, and you're up for the Lauren Holiday Impact Award this season. What does that mean to you in the context of what is important to you outside of just the game of football?
Yeah, so Lauren Holiday Award is in its second year running, and for me it was a huge surprise to be nominated. I do work for breast cancer charities outside of football, and because I was diagnosed back in 2020, it was something I was already doing back in London, but it was something that I wanted to continue when I got out here, and it meant a lot to me, and it's credit to BFC, to be honest, for helping me do that and helping me find a voice within the community to really share my story, share my experience, and ultimately raise awareness for a really awful disease, which a lot of people are either directly involved with or indirectly. So again, thanks to BFC for helping me get through that and connect with charities, and it's something that I'll always try and continue to do.
Jen, I commend you so much. I have so much respect for you. And I know this is the first time we met, but cancer is such a scary word. I was diagnosed in 2016, and fortunate for me, the tumor was found early.
Yeah.
I pulled my groin in a match, had a scan, and they found the tumor that way. How did you find the cancer, and what were your initial thoughts as you were trying to process that, and how did you overcome, that scary world of thinking about, the what ifs?
Great question. I think for me, I just found a lump, right, through self-checks, and I knew something didn't feel right. It didn't feel like normal breast tissue, and I say all the time that I always feel so lucky that being in pro sport, you can go in and you have a doctor there ready to kind of go and say, I feel about this. So that's exactly what I did, and it's credit to that doctor for referring me on as quickly as possible. And of course, it was beyond scary. I was 29 with no family history, and but I'm beyond grateful for Arsenal to kind of putting me through all the treatment I needed, all of the assessments and testing, and it was in the middle of COVID as well. I was away from family, I was away from friends, so it was a really awful time. But sport is a wonderful thing. You're around a team, and they're the ones that got me through it, and the staff and players were just beyond amazing through that time. So I've so much thanks to Arsenal for it.
So when you do come through it, and you feel that power, the love, don't you feel inspired to help others who may be going through that? Is that what pushes you every day when you're waking up, when you're playing, when you're representing BFC?
Absolutely. I think I always say there's life before cancer and there's life after cancer. And I genuinely think it changed my whole perception of the job I do, what I want to do in life, how I appreciate absolutely everything. Because I always think I knew I had the best job in the world, but now I go into training with a smile on my face, and I try to understand that we're so lucky to be able to do what we want to do. And I'm always grateful also to my family for that mid-treatment. My brother and my sister were huge at giving me the confidence and to go and speak out and raise the awareness and talk about difficult things, because I think we live in a world where there's nothing but positive things on social media, and we don't really speak about the difficult stuff. But it's important to, because I wouldn't have known you'd gone through that unless I'd said so.
Have you had somebody reach out and say thank you for sharing your words? Maybe it helped me go get a check and I found something. And have you had any moments like that yet?
Yeah, that's the most rewarding part, is when you get a message on Instagram to say, I've seen your piece, I went to get checked, or I felt something, and because early detection saves lives. That's the whole point. It's the worst thing to go through, but early detection's the best thing, and the messages I get from people are incredible. So.
Oh, Jen, that's so incredible, and the Bay FC community is so lucky to have you, and to already be nominated for this award just first season with the club, just as a testament to how much work you quickly wanted to start doing in the area. So just bravo to you.
Holiday yet?
Not yet, no.
She's amazing.
Yeah.
Amazing person.
I've heard so many amazing things, yeah.
You'll really enjoy having a conversation with her.
Great.
Oh,